So I was looking for some privacy to do a reflection video, and I wanted to do it by the water's edge. But despite the fact there are very few people here, there's still enough that each time I found a shot I wanted, there was somebody there, like one person there. So I kept moving down the shoreline until I found this one, which gets me that bridge in the background, which I like, but freeway overpass. So the bad audio gag continues. Seems intentional, but it's not. I wanted to talk and think a little bit about anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety in San Diego. I had the anxiety. Yeah, well, a lot of it's there's a few private videos that are mostly reflections like these. I haven't decided whether this one's going to be private or public yet. Kind of depends on what the content ends up being. I know a lot of people who are, give me a call if you need help, whether it's towards me or in general. They're like, don't let depression eat you alive. Don't let anxiety eat you alive. Reach out. I'm here, that kind of thing. But what makes me angry about the people that say that is to say that doesn't seem like you've been there and doesn't seem like you understand. Because you can say that all you want, you can post it on social media all you want, but the fact is, a lot of the time, at least in my experience and in the experience of those that I've talked to, if not the majority of the time or constantly, when you're in a depressive episode, when you're in an anxious episode, you can't reach out. And whether that's because of stigma or whether you feel like you have to handle it yourself or nobody will understand or just the pain stops you or the self-talk stops you, ducks, it's often difficult to reach out in those darkest moments because there's something paralyzing about that depression, about that anxiety, about that mental illness. And so to those people who would say, I'm here for you, just reach out. And I'm not talking about myself when I say this next thing. Check on people. If you know you have a friend who struggles with anxiety or struggles with depression, ask them if they're doing okay. If you know that they're dealing with something, don't expect them to be the one to initiate contact. Just reach out. Say, hey, if you need to talk, I'm here. A lot of the time they won't, whether the relationship doesn't warrant it or one of those other things is there. And I've been in the position to reach out too much, to want to help too much. And that's codependency. But it is okay to check on people. It's okay to ask them, are you handling this all right? Do you need anything? Can I bring you a meal? Can I take you out to a movie? Can I get your mind off stuff? That's the best thing you can do is reach out and check and not put the weight on them to ask for help because a lot of times they can't. The next thing you can do is to do no harm. And that can be truly monstrous. Because I know people who inflict harm while pretending not to. That's a tough one, so I'm going to leave that there. Be careful of the things you say and the things you do, because you can hurt somebody who's struggling. I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder around about 2001, which is also the first time I had clinical depression. And it had to do with a divorce, and it had to do with the change in visitation and custody. Up until that point, I had seen my son every single day, and I had seen my daughter every single day. And then I went for a 2-month stretch where I didn't see either one of them at all. And that 2-month stretch was crippling. And that was a point where medication became necessary. And if you don't know anything about antidepressants can have a side effect of anxiety, and anti-anxietants can have a side effect of depression, especially back then. So you had to find a balance that usually you were on 2 meds, and those 2 meds, you had to find the balance that worked with your unique individual chemistry in order to treat both your depression and your anxiety. So I started fighting that battle along about 2001. At one point, early 2006, I had to be hospitalized for anxiety and exhaustion. And when I was checked into the hospital, they gave me Ativan. And that was really my first anti-anxietant. And I realized that life had been completely different, that I was suffering under the weight of anxiety. And for the first time, I knew what it was like not to have anxiety. Well, Ativan gave way to... Oh, that looks so much fun. You gentlemen are living life correctly. Well done. Well done. Ativan gave way to Xanax. And I took Xanax till about mid-2007. And I learned how addictive Xanax was, and I had a doctor tell me, yeah, but you can take half a pill and take it like ibuprofen, take it as needed. But I didn't want to be addicted to anything. So in 2007, I started working on thought process and positive thinking and cognitive behavioral therapy and trying to dismantle all of those thought patterns that caused me anxiety. But it's there. It's in the background, and I struggle with it. I think the silence is important. I'm not figuring out how to massage the information. That's probably what makes me make these videos private. Anytime I think a show is important, I stress myself out about it. I stress myself out about how good it's gonna be and being the best that I can. When I'm in the moment and on stage, that anxiety goes away because it's just performance. And that goes on autopilot and you don't think about it. And then post-show, there's the deconstruction and the analysis, the tearing it apart. And in gearing up for this trip, in prepping stand-up sets, and you can ask Kayleen about this because she watched me do this several times, I stress myself out. I stress about the material. I stress that it's not ready, because it's not ready. I stress that I'm not going to be the best that I can be. And these are the things that I have to undo. These are the things that I have to work against, because in getting ready for those sets, there's a near paralysis. It's almost catatonia. Catatonia, that'd be a good supervillain name for a woman named Tanya. I'm just going over it and over it in my head, and I'm stuck and I'm trapped in my head, and I've been working on that for a long time, running out of fucks to give, as they say, pardon my language. If you ever had a conversation with me in LA, pre or post show, you were probably dealing with some level of my anxiety, which makes me awkward to talk to, and I get that. I'm still operating under a plan, more or less. I knew I was going to get out of California before I did anything. The person I hung out with in Monterey while semi-intoxicated was like, I can get you on a stage tonight. And I was going, yeah, that's not the point. I'm still learning how to do this trip. Don't know that I trusted her to do that anyway. We explored a couple possibilities in Paso, but none of them crystallized. And then I got messages from the universe saying, yeah, you're going in the right direction. You're doing this correctly. Of course, I'd get a train sooner or later. Train! Those dudes downriver. Oh God, the dad jokes are terrible with this one. That has interrupted my train of thought. Which is a happy coincidence, but still a terrible, terrible dad joke, which is really all I've got. I knew I wanted to get out of California before I did anything. And so I stressed about it in San Diego, among a couple other things. Especially since, if I'd booked the hotel through Wednesday and then found out there was a Tuesday night open mic night, I probably would have done it. Or at least tried, signed up, and then not gotten a time slot, whatever the universe thought was appropriate. But the fact that I booked the hotel through Tuesday, and then I was checking out and would have had to extend through San Diego another night in order to make that show. Maybe it's the way I'm looking at it, but I decided that it wasn't what I was supposed to do. So I came into Yuma, and I started stressing about, when am I going to get on stage? And so last night I stressed myself out looking for open mics in Phoenix. And there are a few. There's one that takes place in Scottsdale that is booked through the end of June. They take sign-ups on a website ahead of time, and they only do it the last Sunday of every month. And so I scrolled down, and it's like filled. Every slot, every show through June. And then I realized the lessons that I picked up in Paso Robles, which I think is where the train interrupted me, that everything happens in its time, and I need to just be present. That's how you defeat mental illness. Ultimately, depression is about living in the past, and anxiety is about living in the future, and the trick is to live in the present, which gets rid of both of those. And I haven't figured that out yet. I'm still looking ahead to what I'm gonna do. I booked a room in Phoenix for tonight and for tomorrow. It's gonna make this totally unwatchable. I will ADR this entire thing if it's necessary. And then I booked a room in Flagstaff for Saturday, because I had a friend say, hey, I'm going to be in Flagstaff. I might go to Sedona. Here's the haunted hotel I'm staying in. Why don't you come join me? So I booked my own room in Flagstaff for Saturday, so there'll be haunted hotel footage. And then I figured I'm going up to Vegas, where I'll be for about a week. So I've kind of planned out the next 10 days. Which is anathema to the way I'm supposed to be approaching the trip. The trip is about living today, and I'm still trying to plan ahead so that I know that I'm safe. And I think there's a balance there that I haven't figured out yet, and it contributes to the stress. So I don't know where I am Friday yet. I have an idea, but I'm also thinking that on Friday I'm not going to book a hotel room or an Airbnb through a website. I'm going to drive, and when I get to where I'm tired, I'm going to find some place to stay, rather than utilizing my phone and utilizing the electronics. If a stage performance opportunity arises in Phoenix, I'll take it, and I'll ask the friends I'm visiting with if they know of any stages that they'd like me to get on. I know that one has one, but I don't think that would be a Wednesday or a Thursday, so maybe I'll come back through. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm not going to go looking for one. I have a feeling something's going to happen in Vegas that will be suitable. So I've started to reach out to the friends up there, telling them approximately when I think I'm going to be there. But the last couple of days, first of all, I had to learn the process while I was in California. And I've whittled down the contents of my car mostly to the stuff that I need. And Arizona, or these few days, or this week, or this 2 weeks, or whatever it ends up being, is about releasing the anxiety. Is about trying to cope with that. So it was necessary, because I had a friend ask me, so how are the sets going? And I had to go, well, I haven't done any yet. And I will, when it's right. But I needed to let go of having to do it in San Diego. I needed to let go of having to do it in Phoenix. I need to let go of having to do it anywhere and just take those opportunities as they come, because I know they're going to come. I have a few people who've told me, let me know when you're in our area, because they want to get me on stage. It's in living this moment, being in this moment, enjoying right here. Whether it's not having the viewpoint that I wanted, or a train coming through, or a freeway overpass over there, or a gentleman inner tubing on the river that I'm worried about them hearing what I'm saying for whatever reason. There's been a gentleman over there who can hear, might be able to hear, I don't know how far any of this carries. But it's about dealing with the anxiety that comes with wanting to be safe and trusting that I'm going to be safe and that everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to, that I'm going to sleep wherever is necessary, that I'll be safe, that I'll be taken care of, that I'll get on stage when it's appropriate, that I'll leave Yuma when it's appropriate, that I'll leave San Diego when it's appropriate. And I keep having things happen that make me go, yeah, you're headed in the right direction. One last one to make that point. I had a really good time exploring Ocean Beach with a new friend. And that new friend ordered a Bloody Mary that was served with a little tiny octopus, maybe you saw the post, as garnish. And she's a vegetarian. So I'd never seen an octopus used as garnish, and she was horrified by it. So she took it off, laid it down. I ate the shrimp that was on her garnish. She had the pepper, I had the cheese. And then we started talking about the octopus. And in her philosophy, knowing the octopus went to use, that somebody had eaten it, would make it better. And that didn't work for me. I said, no, you're not going to be able to peer pressure me into it. And then we struck up a conversation with the two gentlemen who are in a picture, Mick and Paul, I believe their names were. And the conversation turned to Survivor. And maybe they were reminded of Survivor by the octopus, and I heard telling me I needed to eat it. But they happened to be Survivor fans. Now, I've wanted to be on Survivor since it premiered. I'm scared to do it. Which is why there was one time where, when I was student teaching, so it would have been late 04, that I put together an application because the students in my student teaching wanted to see me apply, and they wanted to be in the application video, and my master teacher approved it. And so we shot a video where the kids said, look, if he can handle us, and they were 7th graders in a socioeconomically depressed area, which is most of Kern County. If he can handle us, then Survivor's a piece of cake, let him on the show. And I was happy with the video, and in 04, Survivor was only a few years in, so it didn't have the glut of thousands of applicants that they do now. And I had the application filled out and put together, and then I let the passport fee stop me from applying. It's an excuse. I know, it's fear. There's a lot of fear in those days. I want to do Survivor. I don't know if I ever will, but I want to do it. And so those guys brought up Survivor, and I said, I want to do Survivor. And they said, well, if you're going to do Survivor, you need to be ready to eat, stuff like that. And my friend had never heard of balut before, so I verified their statement, and I went, you know what? You're right. This trip's supposed to be about saying yes to things I haven't done, to opportunities, to invitations, and just going, yeah, I'm going to do that. Just like when the friend said, hey, haunted hotel in Flagstaff, I thought about it, I was dissuaded by the cost, and then I went, no, I'm going to do that. I'll take a couple of cheap Airbnbs to make up for it, but I will do that hotel room. A friend invited me to the Pixies concert on the 12th in Vegas. Don't know if I'm going to go yet because we haven't worked out even what the price is, but I'm inclined to go, yeah, I'll figure out how that works. And so those two guys in Ocean Beach reminding me of the food challenges on Survivor reminded me why I'm on the trip and what the psychology is supposed to be. So if you saw me eat that octopus, that's how that happened. Tasted like calamari, a little bit more raw, didn't really taste anything else. Rubbery, chewy. Wasn't even a big deal. I'm figuring the anxiety out. I expect a spike in Phoenix because I have history in Phoenix. I'm going to manage that. And everything will happen in its time. I'm coming for you, Jeff Probst. I'm coming for you.